Thanks, Brandis. It's crunch time in Washington, D.C. as lawmakers try to avoid defaulting on American debt by lifting the debt ceiling, and they also try to avert a government shutdown. There's also a vote on the hard infrastructure bill to improve roads and bridges, which already passed in the Senate, and then negotiating the Human Infrastructure Build Back Better bill with its steep price tag of $3.5 trillion over multiple years. And joining us now to talk about this momentous week ahead are Congresswoman CHERI Bustos, a Democrat from East Moline, and Congressman Brad Schneider, a Democrat from Deerfield. We invited all the Republicans in Illinois' congressional delegation, and none accepted our invitation tonight. But we do appreciate you joining us. And first, let's start with that debt ceiling vote. Yesterday, Senate GOP filibustered and killed the bill to raise the debt ceiling to pay for all the past spending. They say the Democrats have the majority, so it's up to them to do it. And today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the country will run out of flexibility to avoid breaching the debt limit on October 18th. Here is reaction on both sides of the aisle.
The Republican Party has now become the party of default, the party that says America doesn't pay its debts.
Democrats must take responsibility and address the debt limit themselves. With total control of the government, they have the ability to do that.
Congresswoman Bustos, this debt ceiling bill is causing a lot of anxiety, not just in government, but in the private sector. Will Democrats have the votes to go it alone to raise it?
Well, it looks like we're going to have the votes to go it alone because we're not going to get any cooperation from across the aisle. You know, look, I come from a congressional district that's in downstate Illinois. We have 7,000 square miles, 150 towns altogether. This district I represent voted for Donald Trump twice. So I understand people at the grassroots level wanting us to work together. And the fact that this would be the first time in history that you've got a party saying, go it alone, we are going to offer you no help. And by offering you no help, if you can't get this done, we're going to default on paying our debts, which, by the way, these debts are those that were incurred for the most part under the Trump administration. The debt that we would be paying for, only 3% of them are from the Biden administration. So this is the ultimate in really political and governmental malpractice to say, hey, we're not going to offer you one bit of help.
And it seems to be these stare downs over the debt ceiling have happened with relative frequency over the last several years. Congressman Schneider, you have Democratic leaders saying they really don't want to do this as a reconciliation vote where they only need that simple majority. So is it going to be difficult?
Well, I'm not sure whether it's a matter of difficult, it's a matter of responsible. And as CHERI Bustos just said, this is the first time in history that we haven't come together as a government, Democrats and Republicans, to pay our bills. And it's not future bills. These are things we've already, as a Congress, as a government, spent, and that we need to pay them. But it would also be, if we don't do this, it's the first time in history that the United States will have defaulted on its debt. This is not something that a global leader of the United States of America does. This is something that third world countries or failing governments do. We need to pay these bills. We need to do it in a responsible way. My hope is that we can find a way to convince the Republicans to join us in doing that. Short of that, we need to find a pathway that we passed it in the House. We had the votes. We passed it last week in the House to raise the debt. And in the Senate, they need to find a way to do it working around the filibuster.
And that's where that stands. Now, Congresswoman CHERI Bustos, again, the government has 3 weeks to figure this out. The Senate has about 3 weeks to figure this out, or else the U.S. defaults. What does that look like in practical terms for United States citizens?
Well, it would take somewhere along the lines of trillions of dollars out of household incomes. Not to mention what you're going to see happen out of Wall Street. This has never happened in the history of our nation. And I actually, Paris, don't even really want to go down that path to do the speculation, because this is really like a non-negotiable as far as getting the job done here. We've got to figure out a path. I would hope that our friends across the aisle would be willing participants in this. But there's literally, there's not a fix for this other than to make sure that we get this right. And you know, what's more immediate, you almost have to look at, so what's right in front of our face right now and what's a little bit down the line. What's right in front of our face right now is that the end of this fiscal year is on Thursday. And so we've got to make sure that we also focus on keeping the government open and functional. And so we've got that knocking on our doors. We've got the, you know, the default if we don't get that figured out. And then of course we have this infrastructure package that we're working on getting through. And then we have the bigger Build Back Better Act. So I was talking with your team before taping this, and we were talking about what kind of week this is in Washington, D.C. It is legislatively one of the most massive weeks, if not the most massive weeks that we have ever had in my time in Congress. Brad and I both were elected in 2012, and I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like this with all of it coming together.
They've called it the week from hell. And Congressman Schneider, what about that a bill to keep government running? Because if you don't pass an appropriations bill by Thursday, then there's a government shutdown. So will that pass, and what will that look like?
Yeah, you know, again, the House has done its responsibility. Last week, we passed the bill to continue the funding of the government. The House has passed a large number of appropriations bills. The Senate hasn't even had that conversation, and you needed to pass both chambers and go to the president. So we end up doing a continuing resolution, which is not the best approach, but at least it keeps government open. We passed that last week, and as Sherry touched on, we passed last week raising the debt limit. We passed the National Defense Authorization Act. On Thursday, if the Senate doesn't pass a continuing resolution, the government shuts down. We can't allow that to happen. That's irresponsible. On Thursday, if we don't pass the infrastructure bill, the surface transportation authorization expires. We have to pass that infrastructure bill. There are so many things that we're working on, and then you get into the bigger package, the Build Back America Act, where we're focused on creating quality jobs, addressing climate change, investing in our kids and their education, investing in healthcare, ensuring we bring down the cost of prescription drugs. All of these things are the stuff that's on our agenda that we need to address. But if we don't do the very basics of keeping government operating, it's hard to address the other things.
All right, and we're going to get to those bigger agenda items in just a bit, but we have to leave it now right there. We'll be joined again by the Congress members later in the program to discuss infrastructure and more. But for now, our thanks to Congresswoman CHERI BUSTOS and Congressman Brad Schneider.